ladies and gentlemen, Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about pretty much my hopes for the 1.4 release, the CQC Close Quarter Combat update 1.4, which is going to be coming out hopefully fairly soon. Now, I have actually read a fair amount of stuff on this topic now. I've actually been going around and having a look at what is actually going to be supposedly included in this update. Now, first of all, the two main things that I'm really happy about is the fact that we are getting two new ships. Hopefully, at the very least, two new ships. We have the Federal Assault Ship and the Imperial Eagle, both that have been confirmed for 1.4. And this makes me really happy because I am actually, I'm at heart, I am a Federal player, and I have really felt that us Feds have actually had a hard time of it recently because we've not had that much given to us. We have the Federal dropship, which is, in my opinion, a really good ship, but that's all we've had. And the Imperial players, they've got the Imperial Courier, and the Clipper, and now they're also getting the Eagle, the Imperial Eagle, which is pretty much just a normal Eagle with an Imperial spin on it. It's got the two side engine pods, similar to both the Courier and the Clipper. But not only that, but it's had the central hardpoint, that's the center top hardpoint on the ship. It's actually being replaced with a medium hardpoint, which is kind of interesting. So it's going to give the Eagle a very different feel in combat. It's going to have the same kind of weapon hardpoint setup as the Adder. So it's going to be a lot more of a versatile ship. But considering that the Eagle is generally a lower tier ship, it's going to be a bit of an upgrade from this. So I'm curious to see what kind of rank you're going to need in the Imperial Navy in order to get this. And the same can be said for the Federal Assault Ship. And from the picture that we've been shown so far of the Federal Assault Ship, there's not a lot that's been known about it. We don't know anything about its hardpoint setups. We don't know how many hardpoints it has. The only thing we know is it has a very similar shape to the Federal dropship, and it even has a very similar design with all the fins and so on all over the sides of the ship. So that's going to be very interesting to get my hands on, or our hands on, so to speak. With these two ships, I am really looking forward to getting my hands on them and putting them through their paces in the beta, so I can bring you guys my first impressions videos. But not only that, we have some other things that are apparently being introduced into 1.4. One of these things is obviously the main title of the update, which is the Close Quarters Combat Arena combat thing, which is a separate entity to the rest of the Elite universe. You basically you would go and select it from the title menu. So it's, instead of going into open play, private group or solo, you would just go into the CQC mode, which is where you'd be doing pure PvP. I'll be giving it a go, but I'm not sure how I will be liking this, because I do prefer... I joined Elite for the big, expansive universe. I didn't join Elite for the arena thing. But then again, like it's been said previously, the arena module has to really be put in there to appeal to the console market, which is obviously why it's being released now 1.4, because that's the release that's kind of going to be full release pretty much with the Xbox One. So yeah, that's kind of fair enough. But not only that, we are having a few other things actually being introduced into the game. apparently we're going to have salvage missions. So we're going to have proper illegal salvage missions. So my dream of living my life as a as a Firefly captain, pretty much, is almost going to be able to be made true. The only thing I need now is an actual ship that feels a bit more like a Firefly. The closest I've got to that at the moment is the Asp Explorer, although I would like a ship, another medium ship, that is somewhat less. Well, we've got lots of different ships. We have the combat-oriented ships, and we have the trade-oriented ships, and then we have the kind of the multi-role ships. I'd like a ship that was almost specifically designed, not exactly to be a cargo liner or anything, but well, not even a cargo liner because that's the trade ships, but being almost like a salvage vessel, like something akin to the Firefly ship in the Firefly series. Because I do feel like all the ships that we have at the moment, they've got a very specific role. They've either got military applications such as the Eagles and the Federal dropships and so on, or we have the trade vessels such as the Type 6, Type 7, Type 9 and so on. But I would like some kind of more ambiguous kind of ships, ones that could be pretty much anything well, not exactly anything, but they're kind of like older ships that have a bit more kind of a feel to them, so to speak. It's just, like I said, I like the idea of the Firefly ship. Obviously I don't want a specific Firefly ship, I just want something that could fill that role. Preferably something that doesn't have very many weapon mounts or something, or just has a few, but you can use it for pretty much anything. Something similar to like the Asp. The Asp is the closest ship I can think of to what I would really like, but I would like something that's a little bit more oriented towards being kind of ambiguous, so to speak, because the Asp still can be a very good combat ship, because it has a lot of hard points. But anyway, I'm waffling on this one. So yeah, what I would like to see is more uses for the drones as well, in conjunction with the salvage missions, like the ability to actually have salvage drones. So if I dropped into let's say a weak signal source or something and found a detonated anaconda or something, I'd actually be able to send off the drones to actually go and scour the actual thing, or even scan it to see what I could find, see if there's anything useful on there, and almost mine the ship, so to speak, like cut chunks off the ship and be able to actually basically treat that as high-grade salvage. Pretty much almost like mining, maybe having to have a special refinery for it as well, like a salvage refinery or something like this. Maybe having the drones actually flying off and cutting chunks off the ship as well, that would be kind of interesting. But we'll have to see how that goes, because I'd really like that idea. But not only that, but well, we have this for the more passive players of us, but those of you who like to be a little bit more aggressive and active, extraction zone apparently. Like I think we've got like the high intensity resource extraction sites and so on, but I think they are going to have another one which is more geared towards combat, because I think Frontier have been kind of hit really hard by all the backlash of everyone getting annoyed at the nerf, let's say, of the resource extraction sites. Now, I kind of saw this as a bit of a logical step, because we went from having pirate lords in anacondas coming in droves like lemmings into the resource extraction sites just because they wanted basically assisted suicide. That's what it felt like before the nerf, let's say. But after that, a lot of people are complaining that there aren't enough ships to actually make a living through combat. And I can see this side of the argument, but even so, I don't think it should be as good as it was, but I do think it has gone a little bit too far down the other side. But we'll see. There's also going to be new massacre missions, apparently, which is similar to the hunting missions that we have at the moment, where you have to go and kill a number of enemies. But what these will be is a greater number and a greater length of time in order to do this. So, because on average at the moment we have up to like 8, 9, 10, 12 targets we have to kill for these missions, anything from like 2 to 3 to 12 that I've seen. I haven't really seen anything more than that, but I can imagine these massacre missions will be something from, let's say, 20 to 50 maybe enemies, maybe even more. It could be anything up to 100 that you've got to kill within a set amount of time. So it could be you've got, let's say, a week to kill 100, or a couple of days to kill 100. That might work. But we'll have to see how that goes and how they actually implement it. But I'm really curious to see how the CQC update is going to go. Mainly, I am really happy that we're getting new mission types and ships. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the 2 new ships, putting them through their paces, and letting you guys know what I think. But I'm also really excited for the smuggling missions. Not the smuggling missions, the salvage missions. Because that just adds a whole new aspect into the game. Although I am still a little bit disappointed that we haven't had the passenger missions as yet. But because I don't think passenger missions should be that hard to actually implement. All we would need is, well, mechanically speaking, we would need some new modules, like cabins and passenger quarters and so on. And varying grades of with varying grades of luxury, going from like cheap, like motel kind of bare bones cabins where they're pretty much stacked one on top of each other. Next up is kind of like an easy stay hotel or something, and then the top one would be like the Ritz, let's say. So that would be interesting, and then we'd really just need the missions for them. I can't see how the infrastructure should be that hard to install. But then again, there are other things to take into consideration, like there might be, you could always have, when you're doing passenger missions and you have passengers on board, you could have chances of pirates or people trying to come and kidnap special passengers that you have. And that would be really interesting, but then at that point you'd probably have to have like the boarding mechanics and so on in, because you can't exactly jettison passengers. So the more I think about it, the more I can see that it would actually be a little bit more difficult to actually implement. I am really hoping that when they do implement it, it is going to be as good as I think it actually could be. There's something else that they're actually planning to change in 1.4 that I actually almost forgot about, and I actually think is a really nice thing. It's something that I thought was actually going to be implemented in 1.3. And what that is a change to the way the power plant reacts when being shot at. Because, according to Frontier, when they were at LaveCon this year, they had a lot of feedback from you guys where they were saying, where you guys were saying to them that the Anaconda, especially, is extremely weak when it comes to having its power plant sniped. And this is something I thought they were going to change in 1.3, but it didn't actually happen. So what they're actually planning to do in 1.4 is actually change the way the power plant actually reacts when it's being shot at. And how they're actually planning to do this is to have that if you're actually shooting at the power plant, the lower you take the health of the power plant, the less power the power plant's actually going to be generating. And not only that, it's actually going to be malfunctioning as well, because that's one of the things they didn't actually include in the game thus far is actually power plant malfunction. So you don't actually know that your power plant's actually being hit if you're just playing normally, because I've been destroyed in my Python, and I don't think I've been destroyed in my Anaconda, but I definitely got destroyed in my Python, and I got destroyed at like 70% health, and I was really confused as to why that happened. Turns out I'd actually been sniped by my power plant, by an NPC. But there's no warnings telling you that this is happening. I wasn't aware it was happening. All that happened is my ship exploded at 73% hull, and I was really surprised at this. But having this happen with your power levels dropping with the health of your reactor will actually add an entire new mechanic and dynamic into the game. Because at the moment, I am actually spending a lot of time actually working out the best way of actually squeezing as much power out of my ships as humanly possible. But if this is the case, then I'm actually going to be changing the way, like I said, changing the way the power plant works and having it produce less power. I'm not going to be able to do this as much, because if my shields go down and my power plant gets hit, even if it drops down like a couple of % amount of power, I might actually be losing my ship's power altogether. So that's going to be very interesting. So I'm going to have to look at different ways of actually running my ships and not running them as close to breaking point as possible when it comes to power. So I'm going to have a lot more of a buffer, and actually it's going to be more of a reason to run much better not power distributors, life support. Because at the moment I only ever run a D-rated life support, because I don't see the point in having anything better than that at the moment. But if this is going to happen like this, and I'm going to be if my ship would take damage, I would lose power to certain ships, the first thing I'd want to go is life support, and have it as preferably an A or a C life support, so I can actually survive and not just run out of oxygen before shit hits the fan, really. Not only that, but I will have to leave a lot more of a buffer between actually having my weapons deployed and my maximum 100% amount of power my ship is actually producing. So that if I am losing power, then it's not going to be as catastrophic as if it would be now. Because let's say, even if I did lose 1%, my ship would just totally shut down. Especially when my weapons were out. But that's not the only thing they're changing about the power plants. The next thing they're actually going to be changing is how the power plant actually reacts when it hits 0%. What happens when it reaches 0%, apparently, is going to be just the power plant shuts down. And what you have to do is a restart repair in order to actually get it up to like limping ability. So that's going to again add something dynamic into the game, because pirates, bounty hunters, everything, it's going to be their first course of action is just going to be to target the power plant. Because up until now, it was only really bounty hunters that did this because they wanted a quick kill. Pirates did not want this, because if you took the power plant before down to 0, it would just literally just detonate. But what they're having now is the fact that it just shuts down. So what's going to happen is they're going to have no weapons. They're going to have no life support. They're going to have they're going to have life support, but only very minimal. But they're also going to have no thrust, no frame shift, no nothing. So they're going to be sitting ducks until they actually restart repair. So they're just going to be sitting there. You're going to be free to just come in, fire off your limpets, and get basically get your cargo. Whether or not this will work with the the cargo hatch actually having no power is another issue. I mean, I'm not sure. They may have to change this. But if that's the case, then you just take the ship down to about a quarter health on its power plant. Some of the basic systems should still be online, but then it won't have shield, it won't be able to fight back, it shouldn't be able to jump away. So it's going to be very interesting the way piracy is going to be changing. And yes, I am planning to make a piracy tutorial, but I may have to wait until after 1.4 is released to see how this actually works, because I don't want to have to make a tutorial and only have to like a really long tutorial like I did with my most recent mining tutorial, and I have to change it again really quickly. I mean, I did upgrade my my mining tutorial, but that was after like 6 months or so. Because the last time I made a mining tutorial was when I very first started doing Elite Dangerous on YouTube, back when I only had a couple of hundred subscribers. And speaking of subscribers, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who actually has been subscribing and following and supporting me. Because we've gone from only a few hundred subscribers when I first started doing Elite Dangerous, and now I am on over 6,200. It's an insane amount for me. I never really expected to be to get so big in Elite Dangerous, but I am loving it. So thank you very much. And if I am not mistaken, I am actually the second largest, maybe, dedicated Elite Dangerous YouTuber. Because I know there are other people such as Isanona and Scott Manley who have way more subscribers than I do, but I don't think they are dedicated Elite Dangerous YouTubers. I mean, Isanona maybe, I'm not sure. But pretty much all the subscribers I've made are, as of the last 6 months, have all been due to Elite Dangerous, and I'm extremely happy with that. Elite Dangerous has been very good to me. But anyway, those are pretty much my thoughts on 1.4 and what I hope for it. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching this. If you have liked it, please do hit that like button. It really does help the channel out. And if you haven't already, please do hit that big subscribe button. You will get notifications from whenever I release new videos. And until next time, Commanders, keep flying and stay shiny.